Okay, Elon just dropped his master plan part 4, and he thinks you're dumb enough to fall for it. His cars aren't the status symbol they used to be. People aren't even protesting his stores like they used to. So right now is the perfect time for his stands to buy another thing. The mezcal isn't enough. The bottle opener isn't either. It's definitely not the $9 hot dog. Nope, it's time to forget about cars when you think of the name Tesla. Elon and his kind, they think we're dumb, and that's because we're loyal to certain brands. I'm going to share with you some ways that we can combat this sense of loyalty that drives us to buy products that may no longer serve us. So, back in 2006, Elon came up with what he calls the secret Tesla Motors master plan, just between you and me. First step was to build a sports car. Next, we're going to use that money to build an affordable car. Then we're going to use that money to build an even more affordable car. And while doing all these things, we're going to also provide zero emission electric power generation options. In my opinion, Elon succeeded with the secret Tesla Motors master plan. And then we come to master plan part 2. And that's a play on the Hot Shots movie franchise from the 90s with Charlie Sheen. He's digging into the Gen X culture now. This is when we start to see his humor more and more through his tweets. In July 2016, a little more than a month from when I started working at Tesla, he came out with this plan. First, we want to create stunning solar roofs with seamlessly integrated battery storage, expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments, develop a self-driving capability that's 10 times safer than manual via massive fleet learning. So 1, create stunning solar roofs with seamlessly integrated battery storage. Tesla buys Solar City, a company owned by his cousins. He lays these master plans out to let you know what he's going to do before he does them. So we can see with this master plan, the Solar City sale was already in the works for him. Then we want to expand the electrical vehicle product line to address all major segments. Actually, I'm going to retract what I said earlier when I said the master plan was a success. It's a success now, but at the time he rolled out master plan part 2, the Model 3 hadn't been launched as yet. It had been talked about, but it hadn't been launched. Expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments. So at this point, we're expecting the Model 3 launch. There's no thoughts about a truck. There's no thoughts about a Gen 2 Roadster. There's no thoughts about a semi at this point. We're just looking to expand the product line to a more affordable car, as promised in the secret Tesla Motors master plan. The next point of this master plan is to develop a self-driving capability that is 10 times safer than manual via massive fleet learning. At this point in July, we had just finished the Q2 end of quarter of 2016. It was a great quarter. And we're rolling into the next quarter. At this point in July, we're at the start of Q3 2016. We're selling more cars than we had done the quarter before. And by the end of this quarter, he rolls out Autopilot 2. And the customers who had taken delivery of their vehicles this quarter were upset. They wouldn't have the upgraded Autopilot on their car because the car they took delivery of would not support it. But if you read this master plan, you could have looked forward and seen that something was about to launch, because whenever he drops this information, something new is about to come. What you couldn't anticipate is that the vehicles that were coming offline at the moment couldn't support the new thing that was coming because they wouldn't start production until after this quarter is over. Tesla voluntarily puts out their vehicle safety report. According to the vehicle safety report that came out Q2 2025, they haven't reached the 10 times safer benchmark. They're very close. It's based on their data, 9.5 times safer than driving a vehicle manually. But what data are we including and what data are we excluding in this? We don't know. And when you go to work, when you do things, if you almost achieve your goal, but not just quite, have you succeeded or have you failed? If you work at Tesla, you did not achieve your goals, so you failed. The next point that this master plan mentions is enable your car to make money for you when you're not using it. They haven't done that. People bought Teslas thinking that they could rent their vehicle out in a sense that it would drive the customer from point A to point B. Instead, Tesla has launched their competing product, which is Robotaxi. And instead of people who bought into a vehicle that was supposed to make money for them, they have this vehicle that is quickly depreciating. In 2023, we get the master plan part 3. That's when it talks about scaling up renewable energy and electric vehicles. It also gives us a roadmap for sustainable energy systems. It talks about renewables for the grid. It talks about electrification of vehicles and heating. It talks about sustainable fuels for planes and for boats. It emphasizes investment in the infrastructure. And this week, we get the master plan part 4. Strangely enough, this master plan wasn't put on the Tesla website, on the Tesla blog, like the other master plans. It was actually released through Twitter. So in this master plan, it shows us this huge twist. Master plan part 1 and part 2 were very goal-centric. Master plan part 3 gave us some ideas of what would come into the future. Master plan part 4 is a full shift and is more of a philosophical vision. There are no concrete goals here. You're shifting now from vehicles and energy generation to robotics and AI. This should be a complete different company, but that's my opinion. And in this master plan, we see how the mission statement of Tesla is about to evolve. So originally, Tesla's mission statement was to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable transport. When I started at Tesla, that was the mission statement. And then when we brought in the renewable energy products, it became accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And now it's accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Listed on this master plan 4, we have we're accelerating the world's transition to sustainable abundance. So now Tesla is driving abundance culture. I mean, tell me where the Tesla diner fits into all of this. So Tesla thinks now that resources and choices are plentiful. There's so much that we can't actually use it all. That's why we don't need to build out our electric grid anymore, because we have this abundance of energy. Got it. Let's focus on robots so it can serve us popcorn when we go to the Tesla diner in LA. So based on everything that was written in the Tesla Master Plan 4, I inferred that he expects his Tesla stands to buy robots now so they can serve popcorn at home. A lot of Tesla fans are making the pilgrimage to LA to try out the Tesla diner. Literal road trips to wait in line and try out a $13 hamburger. Elon, he thinks you're dumb and you've just been loyal. What prompted me to make this video is I've deprogrammed myself from Tesla. It took a while because I was working in the space, but once I did, my eyes were wide open. And it made me think, what other products do I use in my life where I'm being loyal to a product that's no longer serving me? And one of the first things that came to mind are my Apple products. Now, I used to work with a guy who would say to me, Apple users are a part of the cult, and I'm not a cult member. I didn't think anything of it. I was a part of the ecosystem, and that's why I stayed with Apple. The first time I used an Apple product was in 7th grade. We had, I think it was called the Apple II, and I took a computer class that year, and the best students were allowed to use the Apple products in addition to the other computers we had. I think we had IBM computers. I don't remember really because I was mostly on the Apple products. And that's when my love for the Apple products actually developed. And I bought my first Apple product in 2001, I believe. It was at the Tyson's Corner store. It was one, I think it's the first Apple store that ever opened. I had moved to DC. I decided I needed a laptop and I bought myself an iBook. And I was hooked after that. Being a flight attendant, I would see people plug in their headsets. This is when the iPod first came out, and I was like, I love music. I want one of those. And I didn't get the first generation iPod, but I got the second generation, and that was one of my biggest loves. It was this huge, heavy thing that held enough music for me. If I were to look at a product like that now, I'd be like, it has no storage. What am I going to listen to 20 songs? Back then it was enough. We were holding CDs and carrying a CD player around. So it was a great product back then. And when the iPhone came out, no, I didn't have the first version. I didn't have the second version. I ended up with the third version, I believe. And I've been an iPhone user ever since. Now I'm in this space. I need a new computer. But I've finally deprogrammed myself from Apple, and Apple isn't what I need at this moment. Yes, I love the interface. I love being a part of the ecosystem. But at this point, the price point is no longer matching the product. Frankly, since Tim Cook took over Apple, Apple has used my loyalty as a reason to raise prices, but not give me the value that I'm used to with Apple products. So I've deprogrammed myself from that. And I encourage you to do the same. Look at your life and see the things that you buy just out of loyalty. And I want you to look at things that you're buying. Are you buying Netflix, but they're not serving you the things you want to watch? Are you hooked into the Adobe ecosystem, but between the pricing and how they use your information to train AI, maybe that doesn't work for you anymore, and maybe you should switch to affinity products instead. I did that. Are you paying for features that you don't actually need anymore? And if you're buying into the ecosystem like I was doing with Apple products, it may be an ecosystem that you still love, but does it still suit what you're looking for? And maybe you're missing out on a better option from a competitor, but you wouldn't know that because you've been so loyal to this one brand. So when you're buying these new products, you have to ask yourself, what problem does this product solve for me? You also need to ask yourself, am I buying this because I genuinely need it or because it's a new version of a brand that I like? You also have to compare that product with other products on the market in terms of price, features, and long-term support. So my ask of you is that before you upgrade, take 10 minutes, read a review, challenge yourself to research at least one product before you make that purchase. Don't just buy a product, invest in something that actually works for you. Hi, my name is Kina. I talk about tough things with a soft voice. If you enjoy this video, I welcome you to subscribe right here and watch this video next if you would like to see some more. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.